we have a practice on tap today that will kind of awaken the body, hopefully create a little energy inside, but also find a sense of groundedness in our bodies so that we feel just more available for ourselves and for others. So I'm going to have you start seated. And if you need any support underneath you, feel free to do so. And if it feels comfortable, you can let your eyes close or even soften your gaze. And as you start to come to your seat and settle, just see if you can really relax the lower part of your body down into the ground. And feel this contact boundary of your seat to the earth. And then from that action of settling towards the floor, see if you can then create some upliftment through the spine. So from the pelvis all the way up through the crown of your head. And then from here, you're going to start to just draw circles with your torso around the base of your pelvis. So leaning back toward your tailbone, and then shifting to one side, coming forward, and then to the other side. And you might even start to feel yourself tracing a line from your tailbone to one sitting bone, forward to the pubic bone, and then to the opposite sitting bone. And this circling action can be as slow as you want it to be. It could be as fast as you want it to be. You can have your circles be wide, or maybe they're closer in, just doing a little tiny movement. But as you start to draw these circles, as you start to move your torso, start to notice the breath. You don't have to change the breath or make it sound or feel in any particular way, but just become aware of the way that you can hold those two things, right? The movement and the breath at the same time. Good. And then you can change the direction of your circling. And as you're doing so, there might be a place where you want to pause, maybe just kind of feel into an area of the body that feels a little tight or sticky, or stagnant. And then maybe start to let your circles become bigger so that you're starting to feel some movement through the shoulders, through your head and your neck. Continuing to trace that line on the floor. Tailbone, sitting bone, pubic bone, sitting bone, tailbone. Good. And then you can bring that circling back to stillness. And just take a moment to feel, right, any residue from that action, right, what it has felt like to move in this way. And then take your right hand back behind you. Your left hand can come to the outside of your right leg and find a gentle twist here. Maybe feel your right shoulder blade move back towards your spine. And let there be that same action of grounding down through the legs, through the pelvis. But at the same time, can you lengthen the spine? And come back through center, and then you can twist to the other side. Right hand comes to the outside of your Left leg, left fingertips could come back behind you. And then settle down in towards the floor at the same time. Feel a lift. Left shoulder blade can move towards your spine. And then come back up through center. Good. Take your left hand down to the floor beside you and reach your right arm up overhead. Extend out through the right fingertips. Inhale, come up through center, lower your right hand down, stretch your left arm by your left ear. And feel that sense of reach out through your left fingers. And then you can come up through center and switch sides. And then let yourself flow here from side to side. And again, it can be at your pace. If you want to keep that slower pace, feel free. Or if you want to, move a little bit more quickly, you can do that as well. Do that a couple of times, just noticing what your body is asking for this morning. You might feel maybe a little bit different than what you thought you needed, but let yourself explore that. And you can bring that movement back to stillness, just pausing for a moment, notice what's happening in your body. If you have to close your eyes to draw your attention towards that place, and feel free. And from here, I'm going to have you come onto all fours. So bringing your shoulders in line with your wrists, hips in line with your knees. As you inhale, start to let your heart move forward, your tailbone can lift, maybe look up. And then as you exhale, you can begin to round your spine, drawing chin towards chest. And you can do that a few times, allowing the spine to extend and round. And as you inhale, you feel the spinal extension. As you exhale, feel spinal flexion. Good. And then come back to a neutral spine. See if you can feel your hands pressing down into the ground. Right, at the same time, you feel that lift of the earth underneath your hands, supporting you, keeping you held. You're going to bring your hips over to the right and then press your hips back towards your heels. Swing your hips over to the left and then come back forward. We're just going to start to draw now circles in this new relationship to gravity. Again, you can move as quickly or as slowly as you like. You can let those circles be a little bit smaller if you prefer. Good. And then change the direction of your circling. And again, being aware of the movement, but also notice the breath. Really just notice if you're holding the breath. And can you find a rhythm that suits you? Good. And then push your hips back to your heels, maybe lowering the head down towards the ground, or you could even stack your forearms, resting your forehead on your stacked forearms here. Just taking a moment to rest, to receive the movement, the action you've just made in your body. Good. And then you can turn your toes under and then come onto your feet and let yourself hang here in a ragdoll position. So the knees can be bent, your arms can just kind of dangle towards the floor, and then allow the crown of the head to be heavy. You can even take hold of opposite elbows. And then let your body sway, your torso sway a little side to side. And then relax your fingers to the floor. You can root down into your heels, tuck your chin towards your chest, and then slowly round your spine up one vertebrae at a time until you eventually come all the way to stand. Great. So as you come to stand, I just want to take a natural stance. So maybe widening the feet a little bit. You can let your knees bend here. And take a deep breath in, really feel this sense of lift. You can even, use your hands to mimic the movement of the breath. Inhale. And then as you exhale, you can turn your palms down and press the hands towards the floor. So as you inhale, draw that energy up from the ground below you. And then as you exhale, root back down into the floor through your legs. We'll do that a couple more times. So inhale here, lift. And then exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. Exhale. Good. And then just relax the arms down. Feel the weight of your bones, that musculature of your body sinking towards the ground. And then from here, you'll start to bounce a little bit up and down on your heels. Keeping the knees soft so you can really kind of feel that impact. Good. And then maybe let your arms just kind of dangle by your side, starting to receive the bounce all the way up the entire length of your body, arms, shoulders. Maybe even let your head wobble a little bit. Good. You can just really let the momentum of the bouncing kind of create the movement. So not doing too much to force anything to happen, but just noticing that kind of chain reaction of bouncing. Good. And then let that go. If you need to, you can take your feet a little bit wider here. And just start to swing your arms, and just letting your torso twist from side to side. Again, let the arms be somewhat loose, and that you maybe even tap the kidney area as your arms swing from side to side. If you need to keep a bend in your knees, you can do that. Good. I'm just starting to notice how this relationship to gravity, now we're standing, I feel a little bit different than when we were seated doing the poses and the shapes. I'm really starting to find that sense of rooting through the legs, through the lower part of your body, but also energizing, awakening with each of these movements. And then eventually you can let your arms And start to come back to stillness. Good. And take your hands to your heart, one on top of the other. If you have to take a narrower stance, do so. And you might feel the beating of your heart. Maybe your breath is flowing a little bit more quickly. And then any other bodily sensation that you feel here. Does something feel more alive than it did when we first started? And is it possible to name that sensation? Even if it's just describing it in uncertain terms, becoming familiar with how the movement impacts your body. Step your feet apart just a little bit wider here, and your toes can turn out, your heels in slightly. And then stretch your arms up overhead and let your knees bend a little bit, really sink down into the heels. And at the same time, can you start to reach through your fingers? So feeling yourself take up a little bit more space here. So starting to explore, right, the horizontal plane, so the lateral plane of your body, not just up and down, but really starting to feel yourself get big and broad. And feeling energy reach through your feet, reach through your fingertips. Good. And then you can release. I'm going to have you find wall space. I'm just going to adjust my camera here. You could also, if you had a desk or something that you could push on. So sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed or spacey, and I really need to like feel some solid contact in my body, pressing against a wall can be really helpful for that. So you can bring your hands to the wall and then let your elbows be long. You might need to have one foot back and one foot forward. And then just start to press your hands into the wall and use the force of your legs, right, as well. Really feeling, again, that contact boundary of hands to the wall, feet pressing down, and then really getting strong into the arms. And then you can change the position of your legs, so stepping the opposite foot in front, and then push your hands into the wall. Good. Switch one more time. And then again, opposite leg in front. Good. And then I'm going to have you turn to bring your back to rest on the wall. We're going to do a wall sit here. So you want to bring your legs out a little bit in front of you so that as you lower your pelvis, your hips down, right, your knees, your ankles are somewhat in the same plane. And then see if you can press as much of your spine onto the wall as you can, maybe even your head. You can even bring your hands to the wall as well. So you really need to use your legs to support you, which can also create that sense of grounding. We're building a little bit more core support and stability, so creating a sense of strength. It's possible to bring your shoulders back. Your head could even press into the wall. Good. Notice your breath. And then you can stand upright. Nice. Again, maybe just notice what you feel. Maybe your legs are feeling a little bit more engaged. And now before we were just kind of bouncing up and down on our heels, now we're going to shake just a little bit more vigorously. So you can start with just shaking your hands, kind of Noticing what that feels like and letting it come up into the shoulders a little bit. And then you can add a leg, maybe standing, balancing on one leg, just kind of shaking your hands in that area around your body. And then you can switch sides, take the opposite leg, and then shake it out here. Maybe let your head go, your shoulders go. Maybe if you want, you can just kind of like breathe, taking a sigh, the breath out. Good. And then maybe shaking your hands up overhead and just around your space. Good. Maybe doing the legs again here. Good. And then eventually find some stillness, coming back to standing. Soft bend of the knees if you want. Hands can come to your heart, one hand on top of the other. Again, notice what you feel. Perhaps there's some clarity inside of your body. That you're aware of your body and the space around you. You feel very much like connected to the interiority of your body. And then on your next inhale, you can sweep your arms up overhead. Bring your palms together to touch overhead and then bring your hands down in front of your heart. We'll do that a few times. So as you inhale, still feeling that action of rooting down into your legs. And as you exhale, palms come together, thumbs can trace a line down to the region of your heart. And again, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands come down. And two more like that. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then come back down to your seat. And as you come to your seat, you're gonna bring your palms together and then start to rigorously rub your palms together, creating a little heat between your hands. Good. And then take the palms of your hands and bring them just over your eyes. Feel the warmth of your hands making contact with the skin on your face. And then you can start to sweep your fingers from the middle of your forehead down to outside of your eyes, just making this little sweeping action, massaging action, maybe down into your jaw. And do that a few times. Maybe across and underneath your cheekbones or along your cheekbones down into your jaw. Good. And then you can rub down along your arms, just, maybe squeezing along your arms, kind of the shoulders, the neck. Down along your back, you can sweep your hands down towards the floor, maybe along your legs, even your feet, just giving yourself some love here. Good. And then when you're finished with that, just give yourself a moment to receive. noticing the impact from everything we did this morning. And I hope that this movement was somehow beneficial and will serve all that you do today. So thank you so much for being here. I hope it was helpful.